And now, perhaps you are ready for the cold hard truth, because according to the foundational Islamic sources, amidst his great war, or some might say, rebellion, against the Jewish Messiah and his Jewish followers, the Islamic Jesus is said to be the very one who will lead a great revolution, very similar to the one seen in the book of Revelation. Within this hadith, we see exactly what Islam teaches about the return of its Christ. He will descend to the earth, he will break the cross, kill swine, and abolish jizya. Allah will perish all religions except Islam. The first of these actions when the Muslim Jesus returns to the earth is described as breaking the cross, which is universally understood to mean that he will seek to abolish Christianity in the world. Jesus, the son of Mary, will soon descend among the Muslims as a just judge. Jesus will therefore judge according to the law of Islam. All people will be required to embrace Islam, and there will be no other alternative. This Jesus, when he arrives on the scene, will break every cross in sight and will denounce any church or person that believes in their crucified and risen Messiah. The second of these actions that the Muslim Jesus will perform is something known as killing the swine. Now this is another term that is recognized unanimously as meaning he will lead the battle and perhaps even genocide against the Jewish people in the last days. Now this might be surprising or even offensive to some, but it is found in the most reliable sources dating back to the time of Muhammad. The Prophet said, the last hour would not come until the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them, until the Jews would hide behind a stone or a tree, and a stone or a tree would say, Muslim, servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. A famous Islamic scholar details exactly what he thinks this verse means. The battle with the Jews will surely come. The decisive Muslim victory is coming without a doubt, and the Prophet spoke about it in more than one hadith. The day of resurrection will not come without the victory of the Muslims over the descendants of the monkeys and pigs, and their annihilation. Now this leaves us with his third and most mysterious action, abolishing the jizya tax. Now this is very important to understand. During the time of Muhammad, if a Muslim Arab army conquered your land and you did not wish to convert to Islam, you could pay a tax to your Muslim overlord, otherwise you would have to convert to Islam by force. This tax was considered religiously tolerant in some ways, as it allowed Jews and Christians and any other religion to exist within Islam's borders, as long as they paid the tax. This will not be so when the Muslim Jesus returns. When he leads the conquest of the world under the banner of Islam, he will abolish the option of this tax outright, and thus, all non-believers in Islam will have one of two options when conquered: convert or die. These three options, breaking the cross, killing the swine, and abolishing the jizya tax, all point to one devastating reality: forced conversion. In his quest to subject the world to Allah on his return, Isa al-Maseeh will be the primary enforcing agent of Islam and its primary executioner. He will ultimately control the economy of his conquered lands, which according to Islamic doctrine would be the entire world. After abolishing the Christian faith, leading the war on the Jews, and controlling the economy, Isa al-Maseeh will establish the New World Order. But if you thought the Muslim Jesus was the main character in this grand Islamic epic, you would be dead wrong. See, Isa al-Maseeh is really only said to play the supporting role in the hadiths. Perhaps that is surprising to you, as the Jesus of the Bible is described as the Alpha and the Omega, everlasting Father, the beginning and the end. But the reality is, the Islamic Jesus is said to only be a prophet. The false prophet. Revelation 13 details the rise of the false prophet in relation to the great rebellion and war against Christians and Jews taking place under the authority of the devil. Then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. this beast or person that rises up is described as a lamb, which in biblical terminology is always used in reference to Jesus Christ. Behold, the Lamb of God, who takes away the sins of the world. Fall on us, hide us from the wrath of the Lamb. This influential person will rise up as if he were in fact Jesus Christ, but in reality, he will speak and act like a dragon. The Islamic world, and even those who do not hold to the warnings of the original Jesus, he will appear to be the real authentic Jesus Christ, having returned to correct the world that he was not the divine Son of God, nor had he died for the sins of the world. He will look like a lamb, but will speak like a dragon. Beware of false prophets that come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves. The Islamic Jesus, in his claim to be the real authentic Lamb-like Christ, will rally his nearly 2 billion followers to his cause and will be so convincing to the non-Islamic world that many will actually believe that he was not the divine Son of God, nor had he died for the sins of the world. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another, and many false prophets will arise and lead many astray, and because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will go cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. Now this beast described in Revelation will also seek to mimic the miracle-working signs of the original Jesus to deceive the world. It performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of people, and because of the signs it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast, it deceived the inhabitants of the earth. Deception, false miracles, forced conversion. The false prophet in Revelation is the very one who will deceive the world. And indeed, the warning given by the biblical Jesus speaks loud and clear. So if somebody tells you, look, the Messiah is out in the desert, don't bother to go and look, or look, here he is, do not believe it. It is for all these devastatingly similar realities that the Bible, when speaking of the coming false prophet, may in fact be speaking of the Islamic Jesus. But this mystery continues to thicken. See, the book of Revelation describes the primary goal of the false prophet in the midst of his global campaign to convert the world by force is actually to lead the world into the submission and subjugation of the Antichrist. So this leaves us with the final question of this video. Who then is the Antichrist? It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast. Now this term worship in the verse is actually translated as proskuneo, which in the Greek is most likely used for submission. Take for instance this same verse in Revelation, where the biblical Jesus is speaking to his church. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, proskuneo, and they will learn that I have loved you. Clearly, he was not telling his church that the synagogue of Satan will bow before them in godlike worship. No, the term proskuneo here is used to describe submission to his church. In the same way, while many modern Bibles translate proskuneo within Revelation 13:12 as worship for a god, it is far more likely a term used to submit to a kingly ruler or authority. And indeed, it is the very role of the false prophet to lead the world into the total submission and subjugation of the Antichrist. It is no wonder then that the Islamic Jesus, in wielding major influence over his followers, seeking to fight Dajjal and forcibly converting the world, that he will seek in a moment of military conquest to submit the world into the service of a single man. And this man is known as the 12th Imam, the Mahdi.